you. So today we've heard a lot about what agencies are doing or what agencies should be doing. Now we're going to break it down with a fireside chat from a brand perspective as it relates to all things AI and what value agencies can be building right now. I'm Kate Massey, the General Manager of Athos Commerce. We're very much focused on, dare I say it, AI product discovery, wherever shoppers or potential shoppers are shopping, and really fine-tuning each of those experiences from a relevancy, performance, and visibility. Joining me, I have the very fabulous Kate. Two Kates are always better than one Kate. Kate, why don't you give us a bit of a background?
My name is Kate, as we all know. Recently joined the fabulous team at Arcina, a women's international fashion brand, and I head up growth. So essentially my remit is e-commerce, digital and marketing, as well as a little bit of wholesale, now that we have entered our second season with that part of the business too. So very exciting.
Nice, and I counted today via LinkedIn. We have 5 brands that you have worked with and helped to grow that we work with today. So let's dive into it. And very first question, so talking about, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of hype as it relates to AI right now. I like to say there's a bit of AI washing. There's a lot of AI put in front of a lot of words. But what is one project as it relates to AI that's really moved the needle for you, really influenced revenue, and one that's been a distraction?
Most recently, as recent as last week, we launched a US 3PL, and leading up to that project, we had a lot of stock in our Australian warehouse, and we had POs being placed at our international manufacturers, and we used the integration of AI technology to understand our customer data and shopping behaviour so that we could work out what stock located in our Australian warehouse should be shipped to the US and what from our factories should be shipped to Australia and the US. I'm sure a lot of people are aware of the duties and taxes that have introduced, I guess they've taken up a lot of profit from businesses, and we offer free shipping across Australia and New Zealand, so and the US. So being able to do that has really meant that we've been able to save that profit in the business. And I would say one of the biggest challenges or one of the biggest distractions with AI for us has really been in terms of a chat GPT or a Claude and trying to roll out volume content. So it could be copy for product descriptions, social descriptions, content and copy that's used in our EDMs. And because our brand positioning is so important and it is why we are where we are as a brand, it's something that just hasn't worked for us, and we've really needed to, I guess, spend more time to get that content right. So it probably hasn't been the best use of our time.
So that human element.
Definitely.
Layering it in. So now AI is giving you some time back and the team's time back. Where are you redistributing that time?
We are redistributing that time with projects that move the needle and actually being able to spend time on things that are, I guess, more measurable. So some of the ways that we've been able to do that, as an example, our warehouse lead went on annual leave a few weeks ago, and I was speaking to her about her trade report on a Monday, and it turned out that she was spending 3 hours every single Sunday putting her trade report together. So we introduced her to Claude, and now on a Monday we download her returns reports from the portal that we use, and by putting those into Claude we're able to run that report very quickly. And instead of the team focusing on actually getting the information and the data on pages to be able to present them to a leadership team and business, it actually gives them the opportunity to read the information and use that to make decisions and better use their time that way.
Nice, I love that example. So let's talk about the shift in the dynamics with agency relationships right now. So brands traditionally hire agencies for dev, creative, performance, and now AI can start to handle some of that grunt work. What do you need from agencies that a prompt just is not providing?
That Authenticity, and really for us understanding the brand. There's a lot of efficiencies that we can find collaboratively with AI, and another thing that we find is it also allows us to be more prepared for going and meeting with an agency. So essentially we're better prepared, they have more information about the brand, and together we're able to succeed faster.
I really like that. So from an agency perspective, spending the time to understand the brand, the business, the objectives, the goals behind it, and what's going to start to really move the needle. So how are then agency relationships starting to evolve? What's working right now and what's broken?
I would say that they are really starting to evolve in the way that people are thinking and actually approaching things. A lot of agencies are winning where they're using AI to find challenges within businesses that some businesses may not even know exist yet, and being able to provide solutions. But the flip side of that is also being able to come prepared, understanding the brand and asking the right questions in terms of what's on the roadmap, and if this is relevant for the brand, where does it fit in?
So prompts can obviously help get prepared for meetings and come along and be able to ask those questions, and then being able to provide the insights back based on...
Definitely. And then measuring performance as well. So as an example, you mentioned with Ecommerce, and where I've integrated that in previous businesses as well, looking at search, merch and recommendations, and actually understanding how they're performing. And when you understand how they perform, you can use AI to actually run those reports faster, and then make further positive impacts in the business with that information that you learn from running those reports.
Yeah, I talk a bit about building a culture of testing. And to build that culture of testing, whether it's A/B testing, looking at the reports, looking at the data, and then really using that to then drive analytics, and as you mentioned before, that decision making as well. So how do you want agencies to handle AI transparency? So if AI is writing the first draft of a strategy, do you care if it's delivering an ROI? Do you want to know?
Me personally, I love to know. I think that we're going to get to a point where, with the efficiencies that we've been able to see at Arcina Ori and within our team using AI, I think we're going to get to a point where if agencies aren't using AI, as long as you're transparent about it, you could potentially get left behind.
Yeah. I agree with that sentiment completely. And then how are you handling the cultural shift? So if agencies are implementing new AI workflows, how is that transition back to your team and needing to change some of the ways that you're working internally to work with agencies?
The biggest shift for us with that sense would really be speed. I think agencies are fantastic at executing things really quickly, and I think usually bottlenecks within a business used to be some particular areas, but now when agencies can turn things around so quickly, it comes back to sign off, team meetings, actually being able to get everyone together, make sure everyone is aligned, and then be able to roll those things out. So it's really that speed mismatch that I think internal teams need to resource up for if they're in a position to do that, and make sure they're aligned to work with that agency partner.
Yeah, and that's going to be a challenge at times. We hear every day of the week, teams are running so lean right now. So AI might be making things faster, but it's not because we've got a shortage of work to now do as well. So agencies have typically sold on deliverables and billable hours. Are you now starting to be willing to pay for AI strategy, not just implementation? How's the value piece changing when you work with agencies if the core of grunt work is being sped up, but then the strategy is becoming more complex?
I feel that when we look at the outcomes that we're trying to achieve, and when it's like revenue and profitability for a business, if an agency can deliver that and demonstrate how they're delivering it, at the end of the day, I think that is what matters to most business owners.
Absolutely. So being able to look at where you actually, as you mentioned before, what's moving the needle, what's working right now, and doing more of that and less of what's not.
Definitely. So if that's something that an agency is charging for and they're able to move things through faster, but the business still generates the outcomes and the results and the revenue that they're after, then essentially the goals and the objectives have been achieved.
Yeah. Absolutely. So then how, if the agency relationship is evolving, how can partners now best support a brand?
I find the best way for partners to support a brand, and especially where I am working currently, is really understanding the team dynamics and the strengths and I guess the areas of opportunity there are within a business. At most other businesses that I have worked for, there seems to be, I guess, if there's data or ways that you can update information so that it's easier to read, it's one of those things that usually people would say, we don't need an agency to do that, we have a team to do that. However, coming into Arcina Ori, it has a very particular culture, a culture that aligns with the brand that we are delivering all of our product and all of our marketing to. And we find that the people that are attracted to the brand and what they want to do within the business lend themselves to a certain skill set. So that's where if you've got an agency that can do those easier things, those things that are more efficient, and we can keep a happy team very productive in the things that they can do, that's where that partnership can really work as well.
I love that. And so what AI initiatives are you looking to roll out, and how can agencies lean into those strategic initiatives and projects that you're looking to really double down on over the next 12 months?
Very good question. I would say that there's two parts to that. There's the internal part in terms of content and how can we make things more efficient and also really accurate for what we're producing. And then there's also the customer side of things. So one thing that we've looked at recently is if we have a dress that sells out, and if you are familiar with our product, we can launch a dress in one day and be sold out within 24 hours. So it means that sometimes we don't have time to generate or actually put together an e-commerce shoot, and it's not worth investing money in doing that for one or two products. But if we're re-releasing that style in new colours, we can work with an agency who has AI skills to change those colours in the existing pictures and content that we have. It's really, really important to us as a brand that we aren't misleading or deceptive in any way with AI. So we would never roll out an AI-created campaign of a full range that we're releasing, but this is something that it allows us to then deliver product faster to a customer and actually give them what they want.
I really like that. So taking that customer lens to what you're focused on as well.
Of course. And then it's moving through a roadmap in terms of all of the things that we can offer, from things that customers are asking to really looking at how we improve our website through things like search, merchandising, recommendations. And I guess that is more that external factor. So looking at how things really move the needle within the business and ways that we can measure it, but also how it improves that customer experience. And it's able to give them what they want faster and more accurately. And then the business obviously gets the reward from that too.
And have you uncovered some things along the way as you kind of get into the business and you're starting to roll out tech and projects and working closely with agencies? What have been some of the kind of learnings along the way as you've been rolling out these projects?
One of the biggest learnings that data accuracy is so important. And also where that data accuracy hasn't been important or consistency hasn't been followed through, it's meant that with our ERP system, with Shopify, and a lot of the reporting that we've implemented, if those things haven't been accurate, we then have to go back and spend time making it accurate, so that when we're using tools like AI to help us be more efficient, it actually has that data that is true to be able to read and provide solutions.
That's such a good point. We talk to brands a little bit less so now, but it used to be in so many conversations that we know our data's a mess, we know our data is shit, but we just don't have time to get to it. And now data is just such a fundamental piece of the puzzle where the foundations just have to be right and accurate.
It is, and I also feel like that's something that where agencies can support businesses in getting that data right if it isn't right. I also think that's somewhere agencies can really win. If we had certain solutions where people would come forward to us and say, you know what, we have this solution for your business, this is how we would roll it out, however data needs to be accurate. If someone can also say, hey, it will cost X and it will take this amount of time and we can get your data accurate and the team can continue doing what they're doing day to day, that's also something that would be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you had any challenges with people in the team running off in silos or running down rabbit holes with AI projects? How do you kind of create some guardrails around what is the kind of core operating day-to-day and people finding these new shiny things and wanting to innovate at the same time?
Another very good question, Kate. I feel for us it all comes back to the objectives and whether people are working in a team or going and working autonomously on a project. We have a lot of very enthusiastic team members who are on social media 23 hours of the day, and they will go and find these things and put things together using AI and come and present them, and they're very, very excited about them. So I think it comes back to what are we trying to achieve and why are we actually doing this? But I think the flip side to that as well is that I've been in businesses where I guess AI is looked at as scary and almost as if you're cheating if you're using AI, and I feel like that table has really turned, and now it's almost as if you're not using AI, you're probably not working very efficiently.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it goes to that point, like AI can make things faster, get things turned around, but it's just freeing us up to look at like where can we then focus time, what are those next projects, like how do we pore over the data to really find those actionable insights that are going to be heading in line with the business direction as well. Let's move into some kind of lightning round questions. So some of the questions that I want to know the answers to. So if AI right now is reducing time to complete tasks for agencies, if agencies don't change how they're charging, are you firing them by the end of the year?
It might be controversial, but if they're delivering to our objectives, I would say no.
Are you expecting to pay them less, more, or about the same?
Probably the same. I mean, maybe with inflation more, but the same would be good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So really focus on what those outcomes are. You don't mind how they achieve those outcomes as long as those outcomes are same level or an improved level.
Definitely. Again, it comes back to business objectives, and I think where there's certain targets, often around revenue, if you're achieving or overachieving those and you can prove how you contribute towards that, then I think someone's fee shouldn't necessarily alter or be reduced.
So talk to me about your views on retainers. So do you think there is still a world that we have retainers, or do you think agencies are should be moving to a model where they've got a stake in the revenue that they generate?
I feel like there is an opportunity for both. A bit of context, when I started at Arcina last year, leading to the end of last financial year, the business was run by its founder and it had 2 employees. Now it has 12. And with part of that, it has meant that we have had to change a lot of those things. And it's been a very exciting time, not only for the team, but a lot of people who we work with. And they're able to see the growth in the business and our growth trajectory. And I'm in a situation where I do have a lot of people saying that we usually work on a retainer, but we're willing to trial something with you that will then lead to a retainer. And I've found that that has worked really well, because it means that we work really collaboratively, we're able to define those objectives, and then if we deliver to something and those revenue results are there, then there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to move on to that retainer. I think when you move on to the retainer, it's then really understanding, again, what are the KPIs and how are they being achieved.
Yeah, I really like that. It's like proof and trust before you fully commit and jump in with an agency. So I think that how do you get started with a new working relationship, and how do you keep building from there when the results come as well? So.
And to add to that as well, I think it's also really important that a brand that has grown as quickly as we have, that agency partners understand where we've come from. And talking about our data and how our data isn't perfect, I also want to make sure that when we join with an agency partner, we are one of your best clients. When you have your whip calls, you want to get on that call with myself and the team, or the team, and it's something that people are excited about, they're passionate about, and that everyone really wants to deliver to. Because I think it's one thing to sign up to a retainer, and if the business isn't delivering, like with a paid media agency, If they're saying they need 100 assets a month and you only have resources to deliver 30, well, they're not going to achieve their KPIs, but as a brand, we're also not going to achieve those revenue outcomes.
Yeah, absolutely. So alignment on both sides of the fence. What about in-housing versus working with agencies? So if the execution gap is shrinking right now through the use of AI, and can brands do more of this work in-house? Is it changing the work that you're planning on working with agencies in the future? And what will you really want from agencies that AI is just not delivering without them?
What I really look for in an agency partner is someone that can, again, going back to really understanding the brand, understanding our customer and who our audience is, and really delivering opportunities and experiences to them that AI can't. I was having a conversation just last week with our founder about PR, and she was talking about a brand that she knew, and they were activating a fashion week, and she was saying how in future she would like to be doing X, Y, and Z. And we have particular team members that would absolutely love to do those things. And the discussion that we had around that, and why I bring it up, is because the work that we need done and the level that we need it done, we don't have those skills in the business, and we're actually better off spending a bit more money and partnering with someone that is an expert in activations and doing those kind of things to be able to help us at the end of the day deliver that revenue target that we're trying to achieve, but also customer experience, opportunities for content, because when our team try and do that, and if something goes wrong, as passionate as they are about all of those things, it's better that they spend that time creating content, building the ads, doing all of those kind of things, and that we partner with someone that, you know, their bread and butter is those activations and doing those kind of things.
Yeah, so they're amplifying the pace and scale of the team.
That's right, and I think just leaning into strengths, whether it's your team's strengths or whether it's your partner's strengths, I think that's where it's a really great opportunity for everyone to work collaboratively together.
Nice, I love that. So you've gone through some pretty impressive growth. Over the last 12 months, where's that growth come from? Is it from being better with machines or being more human than competitors?
I would say a combination of both. And I would say the part about being human is really staying true to the brand and making sure that we're delivering to that, even if it means that there might be a dip or a gap in something there. But then also being able to use AI and technology as an example to understand where our customers are coming from. So over the last 12 months, 10% of our revenue comes from rest of world, 45% from Australia, and 45% from the US. So now that we've been able to open a US 3PL, it means that we can actually get product out to the customers in the US faster, and the US will be our biggest market very soon. And without that technology, we probably wouldn't be in the position that we are as early as we are to be able to deliver that customer experience.
And so right now, are agencies more valuable or less valuable in a world of AI?
It really depends on what they're delivering. I have a lot of people reaching out to me often about all of the ways that they can provide solutions to the business, and I think it's those people that are really clear on what the business that they work for stands for, what solution they can deliver to the business, and also understanding where we are and where that fits in, as opposed to someone that just says, hey, I noticed this, we can fix it for you and it will cost this amount. Without understanding what we're implementing at the moment and what our plan is in the future.
That's a really hot tip on how to get your attention right now, because we know that there are tech partners, agencies, like banging on the doors of retailers right now. I'm sure you're inbox.
Always.
Always. So that's a great tip on how to actually get your attention. So we're also talking about hot tips. Other advice for agencies right now and how to best engage with brands and the most value that they can be driving?
I think transparency. So when you meet with a brand, whether you're using AI, if it's something new that you're doing or something that you're really well versed in, I think have that conversation with the brand that you're talking to, whether what you offer has expanded and you're able to offer and help more. I think actually being transparent and really authentic then makes brands feel a lot more comfortable about communicating what they're about, the challenges that they're having in the business, and actually opening up so that agency partners can understand where those challenges are and understand how they can help provide solutions to those.
Nice. And what are you most excited by what's coming next?
I would say not so much what's coming next, but I'm excited that I'm working with people that are actually really excited about AI and technology and not scared about it. I feel like we've moved over this hump where, like I was saying before, someone's using ChatGPT and they feel like they're cheating. Whereas now they're like, oh, I've done all of my work, I'm going to move on to the fun stuff.
Yeah. I really like that. So before we wrap up, any questions from the audience for Kate whilst we have a brand's perspective?
I got out of that easily.
I don't think you've got it out of it quite as easily yet. I'm sure we've got a question out there. So who is going to give us one? And then we can all start wrapping up and go for a drink. Obviously, the man that wants to go for a beer the most.
You sound like a great client. Can I give you my
I love that.
Where are you from?
answer?
Amazing, thank you.
It's really good.
I can confirm Kate is a very good client that really leans into the data, the process, the project, and really understands how to get the most out of a tech partner by really leaning in. Kate, thank you so much for joining us today. Kate got the call up at 3 o'clock yesterday with a SOS after a bit of speaker disruption. So really appreciate you clearing the day, making time to join us and unpack that with us.
Thank you for having me.